Hello, hello, hello.
Hi guys.
I'm getting trying. I think I'm getting used to our intro. Like I feel like one person says hello, 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 and
And
then
I
the other
say
person
hi
says hi, guys.
guys.
How are you all doing? How is everything going with you guys?
hmm
How are you? And should I ask myself again? Like, how
Oh
am I
no,
doing?
it's not that bad. It's not that serious. I'm
Okay.
okay actually, just a little tired and I don't want to keep coming on here every time we record to say, oh, it's the weekend, it has gone by fast. But actually the reality is that it has gone by fast again, which is so, it is what it is, man.
Mm,
Generally I'm okay. It was a really good and productive week. It's supposed to be raining this week, which I'm not looking forward to.
mm,
Um, but at least it's sunny today, so I'm going to take in every sunshine I can get in the interim and
okay.
just hope that the weather is not as gloomy as the forecast says that it's going to be.
Trust the forecast. I know sometimes the forecast can be off, but
Yeah,
if it says it's going to be gloomy for the most of the week, then at least 1 or 2 days is going to be gloomy.
yeah, which is so annoying. But anyway,
Mm,
how are you?
I'm okay. I'm all right. Also don't want to just say, oh, the weekend has gone by so quickly, but yeah, it's Sunday and yeah, we're working tomorrow. Honestly, it is what it is. Don't let me just rant about that. But last week felt really good because I worked only 3 days last week.
Yeah, you said.
So I wish this week, like I just wish that every week was like that. You only work maybe three is being extra, maybe four, just work 4 days instead of 5 days. I won't actually mind that at all. But you know
Sure.
what they say about humans that we're insatiable. So
Mm-hmm.
the moment they give us you work 4 days, next thing we're like, oh, can
Can it
we
be
just do
3 days?
6 days? Like, so I'm like, it is what it is. I'm good. I'm all right. Um, I don't know what our own weather forecast is for next week. So I don't know if it's going to be gloomy or not, but however it is, we'll deal with it whenever we get there.
Of
But I'm okay.
course.
I'm all right. My week was really good. I think mostly because I just worked 3 days. So I resumed back to work like very pumped. And I feel like my manager and my teammates could all see the energy I was coming back with. And they're like, wow, this is nice. And in mind, I'm like, yeah, this is what happens when you know you're working just 3 days instead of five. But I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm good. Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right.
Good.
All right. So
Before we jump into today's episode, any interesting shows that you're watching? Any
mm,
movies? I'm looking
also,
for.
we saw. I don't know if you this is going to be your type of movie, Sha, but it's funny. There's this new movie on Netflix. I think it's The Outlaws. I don't know if you've seen that
Oh,
yet.
I actually wanted to see it today. I was like, okay, let me leave it for later. I saw the
Yeah,
trailer and it looked nice.
yes, it is nice. We
Okay.
saw that was it Friday night? Yeah, it came out Friday, so we saw it Friday. I think we finished it yesterday, so it was really good. So I'll recommend that. But I don't think we've seen any series. So we finally watched the most recent, or should I say last episode of Ted Lasso.
Oh,
Um
is it all out now? Because we were waiting for everything
yeah.
to be out before
We
we start
also
watching.
waited till it all came out before all the episodes were out before we watched it. So we just like watched everything at this
Mm-hmm.
stretch instead
Yeah.
of like waiting every week. I don't know how people did that.
Mm.
But left to me, I would have like been, let's start watching it as it started to come out. But Babe was like,
Sure.
no, let's just wait for everything to come out and we'll just watch everything all at once, which was what we did. So we
Mm-hmm.
watched that. No, I don't want to give you spoilers because I know that
No, please
you
don't.
watch it as well. So maybe when you finish watching it, we can banter about it and
Okay,
see
sounds
what
good.
our perspective is about the last season
Okay.
of Ted Lasso. But if you've not seen Ted Lasso, it's a really nice series to see. There are 3 seasons now. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if you've not seen it, it's on Apple TV, so not on Netflix. So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I
think
think
we
you
saw Mal having several like streaming platforms.
platforms, but yeah, I guess some more will come up. So, I mean, are you on Threads? Because I am not on Threads yet.
I'm
And
on
are
Threads.
you? I just don't.
I
I
don't know how to explain it, guys, but I somehow feel like I'm Gen Z simply because I opted on this one as it came out. Because, guys, you know, I don't have a TikTok account. And I know Ella also doesn't have a TikTok
I
account.
don't.
So I felt like this one you can just
I
see.
actually have a TikTok account, but I'm not signed on. Like, I'm not just on it. It's one of those apps that I downloaded because Timitaya must have said you need to see something, and then I registered, but then I deleted it. So I am sure that I
Mm.
have some account active with some username that I will probably see next time and really just you detest that kind of situation. But yeah, that's it with TikTok. With Threads,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't want to say as I get older because then I'll be not you laughing like that.
Well, why would I laugh? Because again, I claim that I'm Gen Z. I'm between the two of us now. You people can judge who is the Gen Z here. Because can you she's just about to say, as I get older,
The thing is, I have this love-hate relationship with social media, and
social media.
I've always had that.
Yeah,
So with
yeah.
Threads, yeah, because it's almost like an extension of Instagram, is like the Twitter of Instagram. For me, it's just like I'm not gonna go there and be typing anything because even the Twitter account that I have, I don't even tweet anything. In fact,
So
Twitter for me right now is what's happening in the world. Let me just go and get update on what's happening. That's how I keep updated. But other than
mm,
that, I'm not all about. I know some people that tweet every day. I don't know how you do it because for me, I'm not about to be
back
posting
in
my
the
thoughts.
day, back when I was in uni doing my undergrad, I used to tweet a lot. Like I was one of those people that tweet everything, like almost every now and like on a daily basis. I drop several tweets in a day. But I don't know. After some time, I remember I just logged out of Twitter and I wasn't like I never logged back on there for years. So
Mm-hmm.
I was just living my life without Twitter. And then now I still like I'm logged on Twitter on my phone, but I don't really tweet anything. If I tweet, it's mostly about like the podcast. Like I really don't say much there. But I don't know
True.
why. Like I just felt like let me just say it was fear of missing out that made me join trades because I was just like, there's this new thing everybody's talking about. Let me just quickly go and see what's happening there. And I just kind of feel like, oh, I'm part of the Gen Z people
You
because
know what? I'm actually okay being not part of this,
wow.
I'm new. Do you know, I am actually okay with it. Like in
Mm,
this household, there's one person that is always jumping on things, and that's always Temita and will always be him. And I'm the one that isn't. And you know what? It's
it's
fine.
okay.
It's actually
Balance is key.
fine. Like it's okay. And I love it for me, like, because I'm just like, whatever is going to protect my peace right now is what I'm after. And social media is, for me, is just more of a vice than a virtue. So I'm just like, I'm not even interested. And I know that, yeah, my kids will probably at some point be making fun of me like I used to make fun of my parents. And you know what? It's part of the phase of growth. It's fine.
Wow.
It's okay. It's so even me, I'll say, even when I was in town, I used to know everything, but
Which
it's
area
okay.
town? You with social media, you were never in town.
It's okay.
You were never in
Can you
town.
not just drag me? Can you not just do
Well,
that?
I'm going to be here to poke anything you say to your kids about you being in town. I'm just gonna be like, don't mind
What's
that she
right?
was never
See,
in town.
when I was, let's leave this matter for Matthias. See, let's just, like, it's okay. It's fine at this point.
Okay, cool, fine. Anyways, I feel like everything we've talked about so far has nothing to do with what we're talking about today.
Which is
So
okay. You know what? It's okay.
okay, it's fine. So today we're going to be talking about wedding and wedding plans or planning a wedding.
You
If
know
you're
what?
listening,
Sorry, it actually makes sense now because I know that abroad, a lot of people tend to do weddings in the summer.
yeah,
But I know that in Nigeria now it's raining season, so it's not like the
yeah.
best time. So
Mm.
for those that are about to get on that train of wedding planning, or you're already on there, and you're feeling overwhelmed or you don't know which is which, your girls have got you.
Yeah, we're
We're
here
here
for
for you.
you. Yeah, and if you're listening to this podcast, if for some reason this is the first episode you're listening to, both myself and Eniola are married.
Oh,
So
are we? Oh shit,
welcome
I forgot. Sorry.
you for
Kidding, kidding,
yeah,
kidding,
it's just
kidding,
been extra.
kidding.
So we're going to be talking to you based off of like our experience. And the truth is, we actually have two different perspectives because as much as we both did our wedding plans long distance, my experience was different from ours because
Absolutely.
she planned ours during COVID. So that's a different scenario versus when I planned mine. There was nothing called COVID at the time. So
Mm.
yeah, so you get a bit of different, yeah, you get different perspectives from two of us today about wedding planning. Okay. So let me start with asking what for you was like the most important thing for you for your wedding day. That was like kind of like number one thing that you absolutely don't want to get wrong at
Guys,
all.
if you know me, you know that is in my dress.
I knew it. Like if you had said something else other than your dress, then I would have been like,
My dress. Like, it's just that was the only thing that ever
And let
mattered
me
to
tell you
me.
guys, on this our wedding dress, nobody, except if she has told somebody else now, nobody knows how much Eniola spent on her wedding dress. In my head, I'm like, well, she's gotten rid of the dress now. Like, she should be able to tell me how much to spend on it, but I still don't know how much to spend. So that means it must be so ridiculous that she feels that if she
It's
tells me
not
I'm going to
excuse
Georgia,
me, excuse
she
me,
knows I'm going to Georgia.
excuse
That's why
me.
she's not able to tell me. But anyways, I'm not surprised that the number one thing for Eniola was a wedding dress. Did I have like one thing in particular? I think my makeup. I didn't want.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, actually, I would say my entire look. I don't want to say my dressing. I say my entire look, because that for me was like everything else can go wrong. Go the decor can not decide not to bang. In fact, people can decide not to eat
Me, okay, you know what? I have a second question. Second option is what's the least thing that you don't even care for about the wedding? Like you don't
cake,
care however that went. Oh, okay, yours
cake,
was cake. Mine was food because in mine I'm
cake.
like, if you put like eat, if you put like don't eat.
I think the reason why food wasn't a thing for me was because if my mom were to come back in another life, I'll tell her to be a party planner. Because even
So you were
something as
setting.
little as, there's a club meeting, there's a family meeting, family from abroad are coming over. So my mom just always knows how to throw it down, and she'll bring
Okay.
out the. So I just knew that whatever happens, that cannot even be a problem, because I will be really shocked that people will come and then tell me they didn't eat with my mother, that I know
I
is my
don't
mother.
me for me, I don't even want to hear it. If you put like if the food was enough, you will. If it was not enough, and I think why food for me was not necessarily like a big deal for me was because first off, myself and my boo had a number of guests we wanted, but then trust family,
Oh.
it got extended. So in my head, I'm like, you know what? If these plenty extra people don't get to eat, I could care less. Because at the end of the day, I almost feel like the couple sometimes don't even eat the food
I can
at
tell
their
you that I
wedding.
don't know what was served. It was people
Share
that
you
was
get. Share
telling
you get.
literally people were telling me that, oh my god, they had so much, that there was this, there was that, there was that. I'm like, really? Because we didn't wait, let's be honest. I don't even know what was served.
Exactly. So that's why I feel like I don't really care like what people were going to
Mm,
eat or what they were not going to eat. But I think for me too, my look was like the most important thing for me. I think for the reason why my makeup was quite important to me was because I didn't want to look totally different from who I am. Like I didn't want
mm,
any makeup that would take me completely away from my normal self. Like I'll look at myself and be like,
absolutely.
this is not me. And
Mm-hmm.
then my husband will see me and be like, are you sure this is my wife? So
I
I
get that
didn't
feeling.
want any makeup that is gonna make me look overly or extra from what I typically like I look on a day-to-day basis.
Mm,
Plus, I have so many extras. So for instance, I typically don't wear artificial eyelashes. So I
mm,
was nervous about that as well. Like I was just like, oh my God. Plus, I don't have eye crease. So I was nervous about how the eyeshadow was gonna look. So
look.
generally speaking, it was more makeup for me.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, like my look. But yeah, makeup was like the main thing for me. What were you looking forward to the most about like in the whole wedding activity or day event?
People's
What
reaction to
part
my
of it?
look.
And this girl said that she's not vain.
Just, really? Because I know that I put.
Ah,
I
okay.
mean, you see, I I clearly knew, I had an idea of what it could potentially look like, and I was very particular about like fabric choice, fabric color, how it's gonna come from my skin tone, and all of that. And
Mivado
one
silk or silk or Movado silk or whatever that thing
Mikado,
was. Oh,
Mikado
you
girl,
see,
Mikado.
Mikado silk.
Uh-huh. And I just knew that it was going to shock people in a sense. I just had that feeling, like, because in a sense,
Really, I don't
yeah,
think I would have been shocked with your outfit. Like I knew. So anybody, maybe people that don't know you
yeah, you
well.
see, that's
So
it.
I know that you're very into fashion, and I knew that you sketched and designed your wedding outfit. So I knew it was going to be mad.
Yeah,
I
but a lot
wasn't
of
gonna
people don't
be.
know that part of me. Do you understand?
Oh,
Even
okay.
my folks, even because obviously my mom was just like, "Oh my gosh, she was so worried about, oh, don't show boobs, don't show this, don't show that." So I think I knew clearly what it was gonna be, and I just knew that there would be. I wasn't fully. I didn't anticipate the extent to which the reaction went. I just knew that it would be like really good. I think I also wanted to see Timothy's reaction, but then I forget that he tends to have this out of body experience where when something that is not particularly familiar with or something that is been looking forward to for a while is actually happening for a minute is not there at the moment. So I forgot that any reaction actually would not come from you, it will come from the general public. So
But did he eventually share, like, his reaction later on? Maybe not immediately, but later. Like,
did he
was
have
it
a
like,
reaction? Let's be honest, I don't think he did.
I mean, I was not there, so I don't know.
I don't know. There's a lot going on in my mind. I will probably have to ask, did he have a reaction? I don't know if he did. Yeah, I'll ask him actually now. 'Cause I'm not sure that I did on the day.
Hmm.
A lot was happening that day anyways. So that's how it was. I think that's the thing I was looking forward to. Because for me, I don't know. I didn't really have any particular thing. I think I know what you were looking forward to.
What
But
was that?
maybe your vows or something, because you kept hounding me about you have to write your vows, you have to write your
Oh
vows.
my God. I mean, no, so they didn't allow us to read our personal vows anyway. So I
Okay,
wasn't
true.
necessarily looking forward to that because I knew that they weren't gonna allow us to read our personal vows. So
Okay, but what was your reaction? What were you looking
I feel
forward
like
to?
it's gonna feel very silly. But the traditional wedding when they say the groom should carry the
Oh
bride.
Lord, I really hope that was not going to happen for me, and thank God it didn't.
So that happened, and I think that was one of the things I was really looking forward to. Because so in Yoruba, wedding is igbeyawo. So the literal translation of igbeyawo is
Mm,
the lifting of the bride.
yeah.
So I was looking forward to that. I was like, he's going to carry. In my head, I'm just like, if he's not going to carry me again, at least on this day, he's going to carry.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I
Your
just hope
last
that it
face
wasn't
is
going to.
like,
Yeah, I was just like,
your
whatever
last
is
face is like.
happening, nobody should say, do not, do not even do that. So yeah, that's what it was.
Okay, so let's go to the whole wedding planning
Okay.
process. What was the first thing you started to work on when you knew that the wedding was coming up? How did you guys come about the wedding date and all of that?
Okay. So generally, when it came to this, I just knew that my parents were going to be fully involved, and I didn't even have this illusion that oh, it's going to be my day fully. I just knew my day, their day, everybody's day. So whatever happens, I was just right. I was okay with that from the very beginning. So in terms of the dates, my mom actually picked the dates because she was always very particular about me getting married on a Monday because I was born on a Monday, and she has this whatever idea she has around. What, bless her. It's fine with me. It didn't bother me. I'm like, oh, let's run with it. It was also good because it was public holiday because Christmas and I think Boxing Day was on the weekend. So automatically
Yeah.
the Monday following was going to be a public holiday. So for us, it just made sense. And so she immediately picked the date. I was like, fine, let's run with this because I was really indifferent. I just know it's going to happen one day. Whatever day it happens is fine. So I think that was the first thing that we decided on. And then obviously with me, because I have this problem generally with Nigerian vendors. I don't know if they just go on, and because most of them, the first point of contact will be their DMs for people that
Yeah.
I liked, and I would not get responses. So I just figured I'm not going to start to try to defend myself to tell you what I'm asking you for. I can actually afford. I'm not going to be speaking English. So I'm not even going to get myself involved in that. So the very first thing that came to my mind was getting a stylist. Someone that was going to organize all my looks, put it together, get everybody. If you want to shout at them, be that intermediary person. I just don't want to be involved in all that stress. I
Mm.
just want to get there that day. Everybody's at my beck and call and everybody's doing what they ought to do.
Mm.
So that was the very first thing that I did. So after the got engaged in December, had the introduction like about a week or two. I think it was even a week. Like I said, mom, she can plan anything. All you need to do is give her maybe 24 hours. Like this introduction that we had was supposed to be like a sitting room thing, which it still
It
was.
was a sitting room thing
It
because I
was,
remember the photos were from inside the house. It
right?
wasn't like you who
But
went to.
I'd made like one Ankara outfit that I told my sister's tailor to make for me. And then by the time my mom got involved, and then we are going to have like what was this intermediary person? What did they even call them?
Alaga.
Alaga. And then we're going to have like drummers, and they were going to have groom side, bride side. And she's telling me, oh, that outfit is not going to work. I just figured, I've really have insight. I've really insight. So the experience that I had from trying to get an outfit for that, and trying to reach out to other people that I really wanted to, and they weren't responding to me, I just knew that not even being in Nigeria was gonna make you worse, because if I'm not there and all I have to rely on is the communication that we're having and you're giving me attitude, I can't do it. Nigerian vendors are bad. I always have a very bad
They
experience with
showed
that.
me Pepe. Guys,
even
they
very
showed me
recently
Pepe.
even very recently I was trying to book some photo shoot session, and I had seen this makeup artist that actually was one of the options from my, I think it was supposed to be for my pre-wedding shoot or something, and I seen her work. And the thing for me with makeup is I'm very particular about makeup artists that are very focused on dark skin tone, because they tend to get like my shade right as opposed to a light skin tone. So let me explain to you. If I wanted to go to like the very high-end makeup artists where I turn between a BM Pro and a Bing Pe or Nokoya, I believe that's the name. BM Pro is more focused on light skin tone. If you see how I do light skin and dark skin, light skin always pops. Being Onoka is a pro with dark skin. That's how she even started with doing makeup for dark skin models. So you can see that if she does a dark skin person, you just always pop. She gets it right. So for me, it's like if I've seen someone that is very skilled in that skin, I know that okay, you're not gonna come here and try to make
and
me
do
look
rubbish.
one shade lighter. Do you understand? So recently I was trying to get in touch with somebody and she left me on red for maybe like 3 weeks and then responded after. I didn't even respond. Like, you're very, very rude. I don't want to call it, but then you know what? Let's leave it for now.
Okay, you know what? It's fine. So
So
the vendor
yeah.
situation made
So
you decide that I can't deal with all this stress. Let me
yeah.
just get someone that will be in charge of all that.
Yes. And the
Okay.
first time I had a conversation with my stylist, Tammy, we were just in sync. She, in fact, she helped me out with cutting a lot of costs, because this was now like January of 2020, when we didn't even know that COVID was gonna hit, right? So I had immediately booked like my makeup artist. I had done like a booked like I think I had made some bookings. We already immediately decided based on the style who was going to make my dress. So many of those bookings we had done based on the actual price, pre-COVID price. So when COVID hit, it actually didn't affect me because I had already booked.
You had your contract.
Do you understand? So none of that
Okay.
changed. So that was the very first thing that I did.
Okay.
What else did you ask me?
So it was the date and the first thing you did.
Yes.
Okay. So for me, I've always just known, I think so myself and Bear had already always said that we're going to have a December wedding. I honestly don't like I've always just said, yeah, I want a December wedding. So the way I used to see it is, December was like a festive period in Nigeria. Everybody, like even people that are abroad tend to come home around December.
Fair
So in my
enough.
head, the way I felt it was gonna work out nicely was however which way, if I have friends that were in other places in the world, they'll most likely come home in December. So, December. And I also didn't, even though it was going to be a December wedding, not too early in December because maybe people won't have got into Nigeria, super early. So for me, it was always, somewhere around Christmas, thereabout was always, the perfect timing in my head for it. Again, it wasn't going to be a raining season, so I didn't need to worry about, oh my God, will it rain? Will it not rain?
Yeah.
So that was it. The only thing that I always knew with the December wedding was, hey, the vendors, if you don't book them early,
Yeah. Absolutely.
the price is going to
Absolutely.
be all over the place. So I always just knew it was, it was going to be a December wedding. I didn't necessarily have any contribution per se in choosing the exact date it was. I just was fine with it being December. And when the actual date was shared with me, I was like, you know what, makes sense. I was in school at the time, so it was going to be my last semester. So in my head, I was like, okay, that gives me enough time. Like I would have been done with my exams, everything. I'm technically going to be done with school at that point in time. So in my head, I thought also, yeah, if we're to go for honeymoon, I'm not going to be worried that, oh my God, am I going to be missing things in school and all of that. So it just made sense to me that I will be done with my exams. I can, face the old wedding and just enjoy it without being worried that I had exams to write. And I figured that again, if people were coming from outside Nigeria, it would be a good time to come. So
Fair
when
enough.
I was told the dates, I didn't have any issue. I was like, you know what, makes sense. I'm on board with that. So that was how the date was peaked. The first thing I did was I told my friends, okay, I'm engaged. We have a wedding to plan. The wedding is going to be in December. And because I was also not in Nigeria, I had this worry again with Nigerian vendors that the moment they see that you're calling them, because again, some of them will put on their Instagram profile no DMs
DMs,
and
yeah.
whatever. And sometimes I'm just like, but you are advertising yourself on this platform. Why are you
Yeah,
asking
let's
us
not
not
even
to
get
reach out to
into
you
it.
that way? But anyways, that's fine. But I had this worry again with Nigerian vendors that if I reached out to them and I was giving them a phone call, they see it's an international number, if they were supposed to bill me 50K, they might just do times 3 of it, thinking, foreign money, forex, exchange rates. And I was a student.
Fair enough.
So I was like, no. So I just told, my friend, told her, I was like, see, you're the one that will help me reach out to all these people. Once, we've gotten to the stage where, yeah, I can now get into the conversation, then I'll join in, but they would have given you code and everything before I get into the conversation, right? So thanks to Tolu, she reached out to a makeup artist. So many of the vendors were straight to her. I think the only vendor I reached out to, I think straight by myself, was the person that made my wedding dress, and it was because it was an email I sent to her. So through email, she won't be able to guess wherever I was.
Okay.
It was later on in the conversation that we eventually got to the point where I had to say, yeah, I'm not in Nigeria. But again, she had given me my coat. I knew what the coat was. But yeah, I explored option of like buying a dress here. They were just
Because I
not.
was gonna ask you how you came to that decision of with
Yeah,
me.
because I did actually go do some like fittings here, but there was just something not giving. Like I feel like there was just not the Nigerian flair with it. Like it looked very non-Nigerian. I don't know how to
Okay.
explain it, but there was just something not giving about it. So I just decided that, you know what, let me just look for a Nigerian vendor. How I even found the person that made my wedding dress, I actually cannot remember.
I was the one that
I
shared it
swear.
with you. Now after we all searched, and I remember I sent you the contact of one dress that she had made.
Let me just say you all the vendors for most of the vendors I used, at least for like my outfit, everything, it was mostly through one friend that said, try this one, try that one, this is a list of some. That was like the first set of things I did. At least you even did like an in-person introduction. I was not there. In fact, I was sleeping. It was so early in Nigeria and I was sleeping here. Bill was also not there. It was just in absentia. We woke up, we saw the pictures, etc., and all of that. But that was really like the first things. Again, I just knew it was a December wedding I wanted. I didn't make a big fuss around the specific dates. Honestly, I was fine with the date that was already kind of being spoken about already. So that was how it was. Now we need to talk about Nigerian vendors. But yeah, Nigerian vendors. What was your experience like? I know that you used a stylist, you used
A wedding
a
planner too.
wedding planner and all of that. Regardless of using a wedding planner and a stylist, how was your experience still with Nigerian vendors?
Okay, because that aspect was taken out, I then had like this intermediary with most of the people. So I actually had little interaction with the vendors. The only interactions that, okay, so let me start with outfit, for example, with all the conversations that we had virtually about coming up with, one thing was certain, it was going to be Mikado's. I didn't want any form of lace. I wanted the fabric to speak for itself. So I didn't want any paparazzi. I didn't want extra drama. So once we found the perfect person to make the dress together, and I was like, okay, this is it. The conversations that we had were very nice. I think I even had a much better conversation with my reception outfits that Imad Dami Mad Eduso that made my reception dress, because she was so nice. She was so lovely. Jesus. So that was really good. Makeup artist, I don't think we had any conversation. No, I saw Dodos for the first time on the day. We didn't talk at all. So there was no trial or anything. I just knew it's Dodos. I'm fine. There's no worries about that. Who else was involved in my outfit? I think every other thing from the shoot, the stylist, the stylist picked up on that. For the actual wedding itself, I think with the decor person, because I'm thinking of where I was actually involved in. I think the only one I remember was maybe Deco, and it was pretty similar because yet again there was somebody else that was there to fight my fight. So I
Mm.
didn't even lose sleep. One thing that I kept telling everybody that had a contract with was, I'm not trying to lose sleep over this. So please don't try to make me lose sleep over. So wherever you need to fight them. I have told you what I need. Just get it done, literally.
Mm.
So that's
Okay.
how my interaction was with vendors.
Okay. I mean that makes sense. I think the only vendor that I can say for a fact that I didn't really stress. No, two vendors that I didn't really stress about. And one I don't even want to refer to as a vendor, maybe because she's my friend, so I didn't need to like stress about it. So Tolu made my traditional outfit and my
Mm,
reception outfit. So I didn't really stress too much about it because again, she was helping me with other stuff as well. So she knew how other things were getting
yeah.
frustrating for me.
Mm,
I think the other vendor that I didn't really stress about as well was the makeup artist. I was very particular about meeting her before the wedding day because again, I'd seen her work, which seemed fine with me, but I needed to say to her directly to be like, Mom, I want to see myself on my wedding day and still know that it's me. So I met her a couple of days before the wedding, and that was really it. But
mm.
you see, you know that bridal robe thing that we wear during like dressing up and all of that. What that vendor used my eyes to see. Hey, because this person was making not just for myself, but for the bridal train too. This person just went MIA.
Okay.
I'd paid, I'd done everything. We had an agreed, and what I made sure to do as well with most of the vendors is really for things that I don't need to necessarily try on, or like I made sure to give them, or even like the makeup artist, I gave them a false wedding date just so that
Oh,
if
okay.
you want
Fair
to
enough.
delay or whatever, it will end up meeting up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if I'd not given this lady a fake wedding date. That's how
Mm-hmm.
my robe and the robe for my girls will not make it.
Oh Lord.
Lady went missing in action. She wasn't responding to my messages. She wasn't saying anything to me. I didn't know what was happening. And I'd paid. It wasn't like I didn't pay. I started to think to myself that should I have not have paid this person? If they know that they have money that they had that someone was owing them, maybe they will
That's
press
just
speed with
crazy. That's
everything.
just crazy.
So that was very stressful. Eventually, when she eventually sent, all the robes home, the one that was meant to be mine looked used, looked like it was worn already.
Oh,
Like, guys,
that's
it was
terrible.
stressful. Can you imagine me panicking from here? There's nothing I can do other than to be screaming in my room. She's not cuckoo picking the call, so there's nothing that I really can do per se. It was stressful. It was ridiculous. Eventually, when she came on, she was like, things were happening. I don't even want to get into it, but that was one vendor that stressed me the most. The remaining part of like, everything else with the wedding, my sister-in-law was kind of like our planner, like things like finding the photographer, the core person, all of that. I didn't spend so much time looking for that. The most important things to me were these are my colors. Purple definitely, like everybody that knew me knew that purple has to be bunch of the colors. So those were like, the main thing. Okay, these are the colors. Um but the photographer's good. I went to their page. Another vendor that stressed not just me. Me and my babe together as our videographer. Guys, we did get our wedding video. Did we even eventually got the full
Are you
length video?
serious?
We only got like snippets, and that was what? Months. This
Wow.
person also went missing.
Oh God.
MIA completely. They were not picking calls. They were not, our photographer before 1, 2, 3. I think by the time we got back from honeymoon, like it was time for us to choose, like, the photos that we preferred. Like everything was fine. You see video. Hey.
Have you seen the video now?
I don't think I've watched the full length video. Like I was just, it's just the social media clip one that we saw. But Nigerian vendors, it's the lack of communication for me.
Yeah.
Whatever is happening in your life,
It's
you have
terrible.
people that that paid you
really
for
bad.
service. You should say something to them.
It's see, I as much as possible, I don't like to interact with them. See, and as long as I have an event, I'll continue to get some intermediary, somebody that'll just put it together because I really cannot shout. I don't have the energy at all. So for me, I was just like, no. But what would you say that was the most stressful part of the wedding planning for you? Before we go into all the details.
Yeah, and also just the nervousness of the fact that I wasn't around, like I wasn't seeing these vendors in person. Like I'm just trusting them that everything would be fine, and I wasn't going to get to Nigeria like months before the wedding. Like I was going to get to Nigeria a week or two before the wedding. So it was like, everything has to go as planned, because how many things do you want to change in 2 weeks to the wedding? Really? Yeah, that was really the most stressful part of the whole thing. Yeah.
I think one of the things that was stressful, or the most stressful thing for me, was because of the uncertainty of COVID. So we initially had planned was to have a 2-day event. And that was going to allow my parents to invite everybody and everybody that they were going to. But as time went on, it was now like reality of COVID meant, okay, it doesn't seem like this is the wisest thing to do, to have it as a 2-day event was now cramped into 1 day. So in terms of 1 day, it was now the order of the day, the logistics of it, also how many people they're going to invite, because I think this was supposed to be my parents' time to shine and to, just act as the true parents of the bride that you always wanted to be. So all of people that they really, really wanted to invite was not like, who would I choose over who? It's like, how do I? It became a big issue on the day because of the regulations, we were only allowed 500 people maximum, I believe. And even with that, ladies and gentlemen, it was not enough. Because to start with, my mom has a very big family and everybody, they are so close knitted that it's like to not invite somebody is to automatically say, oh, you have offended me. That's why I didn't tell you.
But maybe everybody knew that COVID was a thing, and there was like
but you're picking somebody else over them. Do you understand?
So she should not invite anybody from the family then.
So it was that as well. So she almost has like, I think she even has to tell her siblings like, oh, it's you guys that will have to compromise for other people. It was a whole lot of drama. My dad wasn't even gonna, we kept, in fact, there was even a point where my I think it was my sister that sat him and said, okay, we actually need to drop a list. And he kept saying, no. So that in itself was super stressful for me. And I think that was actually the most stressful part for me, because it was just like, I am trying to stay safe. I've been in the UK for the longest time. I haven't had COVID. I'm not trying to come to Nigeria and get COVID. Like, I actually don't want that. You all guys should also not put yourself in that situation as well. And the option of postponing it to a later date wasn't even something that I wanted to think about, because, as I said
that
earlier,
means you're still going to be in this bubble of this person does not do let's just get it done with.
It wasn't even just that. It was the fact that we got engaged December of the previous year. We had our date set for December of the following year. This was
already 1 year.
I wasn't gonna keep on having that conversation I wasn't gonna do it. So it was like, it's a COVID year, right? I think it's even good. So when our kids see the pictures, they know that, there was something like COVID. And this is when mom and dad come back to accept the reality of what was on ground. I wasn't going to move it. So I think that was the most stressful part for me. What generally did you like the most about the day?
Oh, so I think one memory that I think I can't forget was walking down the aisle. Why is Daniela laughing? I don't know if I'm weird, but so I'm also like a believer of, yeah, like my husband gets to see me on our wedding day for the first time in church. Like when he's opening or removing the veil, it's actually really removing the veil because he had not seen me that morning. Um, so what? It's like so annoying. You know,
Sorry.
it's so annoying. So here's me walking down the aisle. There's the memory of there's a part of me walking down the aisle that I don't want to remember. Because do I want to get into it? Do I not want to get into it? Okay, I'm just gonna give like a high level thing. So as you all know, my dad is late. So I think the family that I am used to is my immediate family, just me, my mom, and my siblings. So I wanted my mom to walk me down the aisle because I felt like, yeah, they say the father of the bride should walk the bride on down the aisle, but my mom was like my dad. So I wanted my mom to walk me down the aisle, and the church wasn't allowing that because she's a woman. So I wasn't happy about that. So that's the part of me walking down the aisle that I didn't like. But it's as me getting to the altar was where I'm supposed to be seated and seeing my baby actually crying.
I missed that part. I think that I missed it.
So he doesn't show his emotions. I think most people see him as like ad guy. Yeah, he is the ad guy.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
more
very
like
much a hard guy.
he's the ad guy. So seeing him in that light was like, oh my god, wow. Yeah, so that's one part that I won't forget. There's a part where I was reading his vows as well, and I was just everyone's like, your makeup, you've done your makeup, don't.
You cry. See, okay, in fact, let me go to the next question before I answer. How many times did you cry on the day?
I can't count.
What were the events that led you to cry?
So reading his vows. So like I said, I wanted us to have personalized vows. They didn't allow us to read our personalized vows to each other and during the ceremony. So he had sent his wedding vows to me before I left the room. Since at the end of the day, he's not going to be able to read it to me, but he could read mine as well while I read his. So when I saw the extent that he went to, like the vows were it's the effort, it's the detail, it's everything for me. So it went an extra effort. If you see where I wrote my vow, like I printed it on just like I don't know, just a normal piece of paper. He had it printed on this kind
On
of
a
like a
scroll.
scroll style. Um, and leading up to the vows, like I'd read other like things I had written. Yeah, my husband is a good writer. So I'd read other things leading up to that. And so seeing that as well, I was like, oh my God, wow. Okay, I thought I was taking this whole vow thing very seriously. I
Hmm.
did take it to this level. And then reading everything, it's just everything for me. Reading that as well just led me to, oh my God. Oh, okay. So yeah, so that that was also another part of the wedding that I can't forget, as well as reading his vows and how I felt reading the vows too. Um, yeah, and the other part would be at the reception.
You cried at the reception? Oh, your first dance.
Yes, and then the dance between me and my mom. The moment she started crying, I just lost it, and I was trying to say, "Don't cry, don't cry," but I was happy, But I think it was just tears of joy. But those were the memories. I did cry quite a bit during the wedding, but yeah, I'm a cry, but I'm a very touchy, emotional, lovey-dovey person. So anything lovey-dovey, yeah.
I mean, he explains a lot, to be honest. He does explain a lot, but it's okay.
Did you cry at any point during your wedding? I'm not actually shocked. If you had cried, I would have been like, oh, here goes the hard girl, hard girl.
I think that because I was like, I don't know at what point would I have cried. I don't know. Even at the point where all the engagements and your friends are arguing, I'm like, I'm just going like, literally, I don't get where am I really going to? You
Even
get
the traditional wedding, I didn't cry. It was the white wedding that I cried.
There was nothing about the person that was going to make me cry. I'm sorry. Nothing about this was going to make me cry.
Oh my god. The traditional wedding was more like party. First off, like there was already the ginger of I mean, a traditional Yoruba wedding, the groom goes in first. And my friends had come, out to tell me in the car where was I,
Oh, yes.
your
So,
husband flawed everywhere. Like
honestly, it
you
really
have
shocked
to,
us.
like, everybody was just like, I don't know if you can, you can meet up to this, but you have to, you can't spoil the show. He has
He came
already done.
ready.
Yeah. I
I
was
feel
just
like
like,
he must have been spending weeks rehearsing because I was truly shocked. I
I
was
was there in
truly
the car
shocked.
thinking, hey, there's no way I can beat this man. No, there's no way I can beat this man. But yeah, so the traditional wedding was more like party. Yeah, there was
Fair enough.
nothing crying really
I
there.
think what was the question? Most exciting part of it, or I don't remember what I even asked now, but I remember that it was just seeing the excitement my parents feel. Oh my god! Like there was the joy and the smile on their face. It's something that is ingrained in my heart and in my memory. Like it was, I could just see how very happy they were. And they were like the only few people that I saw on the day because
Yeah, anybody that gets to see that knows, like for a fact, everybody that came for their wedding. I don't know the people that came for the wedding.
same. Mine was even more chaotic because I got dressed at home because my parents were insistent of you
That you
leave
won't
from your
dress up from the
from
hotel. You have
yeah.
to leave from your father's house.
You know what? It's one of those things also that actually didn't bother me a lot. Do you get? All I said is, if it's this house, I'll make it into what I want to make it into, and then I dress it from there. But I what I've understood over the years, especially in dealing with my parents, is the fact there are certain things that are very key to them. And if it doesn't take anything away from me, have it your way. Like he actually didn't take anything away from me. The pictures that I got, I wondered, you just I wanted to be, I wondered, I was just like, fine. So there were a lot of people that were coming into the house that day to greet. They kept saying hi to me. I don't know who was there. Except they tell me that this person was there, or maybe I heard somebody's voice I'm familiar with. I just closed my ears to anything that was happening that morning. So I didn't even know who was there. I remember when I was walking down the hall also with my dad. I think it's one or two people may have greeted me. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't remember seeing them.
I can't
Yeah.
remember everybody at the wedding apart from like the train. Um, I
Yeah.
honestly can't. Like I
That as well.
honestly can't. Yeah.
So yeah, so I remember seeing they're just so excited about that. I
Okay.
think the wedding generally
Nice.
was just hilarious because even the priest that officiated it just made it really silly for everybody.
Hmm.
So and it was just I was pretty much relaxed. The Michelle was the one shaking up until they actually said you are not husband and wife, and then I actually relaxed. I don't know if you thought I was gonna run away. I don't know.
Anything is possible with you, my dear.
People don't rate
Anything
me.
is possible with you. I don't blame him, Jerry. I don't blame him. But I think one of the things that I wanted to ask, and I know, like, I intentionally want to ask this because I know that our experience were different. So it's with the church counseling or marriage counseling prior to the wedding itself. Our experience were totally different, and I want us to share that just so people can also like get one or two things from it. My experience wasn't great.
Mm.
Um, First off, I mean, they wanted us to buy some books by the wife
But
of the pastor of
oh,
the
I even thought it was the
church.
past time of the one.
And we had to read the book. It wasn't just buying the book. You have to read the book. You have to summarize the book. That was one. It was typically supposed to be, I think, maybe a 3-month thing, but it has to be in person. And there was clearly no way we were both going to be in Nigeria 3 months before the wedding. It was not going to happen. So they had to, like, merge everything together into a, I think, 7 days session. So we had to keep going every day and all of that. First off, I didn't find that fun at all. Second of all, there were so the first day they were going to introduce us in church was the same weekend we both arrived in Nigeria. And he had come to get me from, my mom's house. So we went to church together. And, it usually gets the door for me. Like I'm kind of used to that. already. So he got the door for me. He carried my bag, and we're just walking in. And unknown to us, like we didn't know if anybody was looking at us or anybody wasn't really. So at the end of the service, we were supposed to like meet with the pastors that were going to maybe be taking us through the marriage counseling, all of that. So we finished church, we got in, and the pastor had issues with the fact that he was carrying my bag. I don't know what that meant. They were just like, why would he care that we'll be bringing all this white people culture? In my head, I'm just like, with carrying my bag, okay, fine. They asked very I don't know, evasive questions. Like I wish if there were questions that you can see the reason behind it and you can understand why they were asking, it would make sense. So asking questions like, what type of electronics, are in the living room? Is there a TV in the kitchen? How many, like, what does that mean to anything? What's the correlation? Like, what answer would I give that would be an acceptable answer, or not, that said, it was not to hug me, or it was not acceptable for him to hug me? I say, ha.
See, let's even get to see.
So my experience in total wasn't so great. And I also find the fact that the main things that I feel were important to share about going into a marriage were not necessarily shared. They were unnecessary things. Like there weren't conversations around managing conflict, finances, blah blah blah. There weren't like important things that were actually covered. They were just very random. I can't remember anything. That's how very ineffective the training or the session was, versus your experience. To share your own experience about like the whole marriage counseling. Oh, plus first they didn't allow my mother to walk me down the aisle, and they couldn't explain to me why. Like the explanation never made sense.
Based on everything that you said, it just makes sense.
It has to be a guy that will walk me down the aisle. I'm like, explain to me why that's supposed to be the case. No, they almost paused my mood by saying, oh, my wedding dress, the way it was, I can't wear it that way. It was like, what, maybe like 5 days to my wedding. What was supposed to do to my wedding dress before? Like, anyways, that's that.
Pretty terrible.
It really was terrible. Do you know that I was almost certain that they were not going to join us, because my husband actually gave them a piece of his mind,
which is not
after we're done. After we're done with the old session, blah blah blah, he gave them a piece of his mind. And hey, where I was seated, because we were both in the room, I was just thinking, we need to start thinking of where we're going to get joined, because this is not going to happen in this church, because they're going to be upset with what you're saying.
It's ridiculous though.
Well, yeah, that's how terrible it was.
My experience was different. So if anyone is familiar with the Catholic Church, we typically are on this marriage course for 6 months, which is like every Sunday. So the weeks, anyways, for the period of 6 months, that's what it usually is in Nigeria. I was in the UK and Timothy was in Nigeria, and from the onset there was no other place I was getting married than the Catholic Church. So he had to then register with in a Catholic church that was closer to him to attend the session. Now, because I'm in the UK, and generally, although the Catholic Church is a universal church and we all read the same masses and everything on a daily basis, the processes are quite different. In the UK, it's a little more flexible, it's less strenuous, or less stringent. That's the word. It's less stringent. So what I would have typically done for 6 months in Nigeria ended up being 1 weekend. And I sat with this very nice woman.
1 weekend, guys. 1 weekend versus 6 months. Why do you like to carry things to our
It's
chest?
not even 1 weekend, one Saturday. Because weekend is Saturday and Sunday. It was just one Saturday. And then we went into this room. I'm sure
will just be beefing you.
So we went into this room, and then we just sat down. It was more like a counseling session thing. So we sat down, and then she gave me like a list of materials. She asked me questions about where we're gonna live, our finances, if we talked about that, kids, what happens if you don't have kids. I think generally the intention that you have from the marriage. She gave us, like I said, materials and exercises that we could do together since we're in the same place. And I actually found them very useful, because we're asking.
See? Share, you can see. Did I find mine useful? Whoa.
I
Okay.
think so they're just asking questions that a lot of people wouldn't generally find comfortable with. Who is responsible for what? What happens, like I said, if you can't have kids, the living arrangement that you want, all of that. So what I did was I came up with all of that and then we walked through it virtually as always. Now, by the time he was registering for his own, COVID had already. So I did my own quite early before the lockdown. So that's why I was able to do like an in-person session. So by the time Tim Tari did his, it was virtually. So everybody was joining like on Zoom. So I could actually join some of those sessions. And some of them were typically, some of them weren't because Nigerian counselors generally don't ask the typical questions that you want to be asked. But we just have to do that because formality, you have
Again,
to.
it has to be done. If not, you can't get married there
Yeah.
in the church.
However, we also then had one session with the priest who was going to officiate the wedding. And it was actually very chill. He was even teasing me about how I'm very serious and Timothy is very relaxed. So it just made me feel very comfortable that, okay, this is the person that was going to be officiating the wedding anyway. So that was a very easy, I think we had it like over 2 weeks. And of course, my mom wanted to be there. And the priest was like, Mommy, it's just for the two of them. So it was just
Oh my God. What did she want to join for?
it was so awkward because mom kept saying, "Oh, Father, is there anything?" No. So she just got rid of mommy. I have to leave. So it was weird, but interesting as well. So that's how pretty much we went. Then we had to do like some medical tests in the medical center at
Yeah, I also
church.
had to do
As
a
like that,
blood
there was no
test as well.
pregnancy test because I know that some churches require to do some
Yeah,
pregnancy tests.
I had to do pregnancy tests.
You did?
Yeah, I had to do pregnancy tests. It wasn't just a blood test. I said
Yeah.
no. It wasn't just blood, HIV, and no. They did. They said it's even the one that they do with your blood sample that they and everything. Urine and yeah, I did pregnancy test because again, if I were if I was pregnant, then the wedding was not gonna happen.
I think that's a topic that we need to cover
Yeah.
separately because let's not get into this. Anyways, so that's how marriage counseling went. And also because
Good.
I got to Nigeria, I think about like 3 weeks before the wedding. So it was more like a crash course that we also did, a crash meeting that we had. But it
Okay.
was pretty chill for me,
It was
So
boring. It was I couldn't wait for it to be done. Like man, I'm just like, just get me married and I can move on, really.
I can
But
imagine.
yeah. Really, I think that was all I wanted us to cover really about like
Mm.
wedding and wedding plans.
I
Yeah,
think
if
one thing that I would just say is you just need to focus on the things that are really important to you
important
and
to
your
you.
spouse.
Mm.
Because number one, it cannot all go the way they want it to.
I promise you, we cannot. And you know what? I think what prompted me or prepped me rather, before the wedding was like he continually said it to me like months before the wedding that take your mind off the fact that you want everything to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect.
Mm-mm.
We just need to focus on just like what the two of us are the important people on that day. So let's just focus on ourselves. No matter,
Mm-hmm.
and he kept saying, no matter what happens, we're just gonna have fun because
Mm-hmm.
we're not gonna redo this wedding simply because something didn't go how we
Mm-hmm.
imagined it to be. So it was like no matter what you see, no matter what you hear, no matter what you see when you get into the hall, for instance, or how you might see some things going not exactly how you thought it was gonna be. No, I mean it honestly helped because on the wedding day itself, there were several things that didn't go
Oh, look
according
at
to
you.
plan.
Me and
Several things didn't go according to plan. Like my traditional wedding cake looks like what I don't know.
I didn't even care about the
Um,
cake. I think my own was
the
that the person was
the
supposed to
sprinklers, or do you know those sparkling thing
yeah, that
that would come up when during the first dance. Again, thank God for our photographer because I can, if I'm telling you that stuff went out maybe within the first 5 seconds, you say like, but our photographer was able to get photos of us while it was up. So there were so many of all those things, but I just think I'm like, I'm looking at you, my husband. That's the most important thing. Me and
mm,
you together. So yes, like you said, it's very important. Just focus on yourselves and what is important to you guys. Whatever happens, I promise you. I don't think I've heard anybody that said everything went 100%
Yeah.
exactly how they imagined. One thing must happen. So
Yeah. I think
don't stress
also you
about it.
just enjoy the process. I think for everybody that I had interactions with, all the vendors are saying, oh, how I was super easy, because I told myself I am not gonna be stressed about anything. So even when on the day the hairstylist was supposed to come and redo my hair for the reception, and for some reason they wearing back, I just had it. I'm like, what's happening? Are we going? Please just park there. Let's move. I really don't have time. Like I actually cannot be stressed. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
that was one thing that I just had my mind set on, like whatever happens is fine. I knew that guest management or guest care wasn't going to be a problem, because my mom being my mom, I knew that she was going to get things covered in that era. So I just needed to focus on the other things, and I tried to have fun. I think I did.
Mm.
That was it. Also, yeah, another thing that you want to prioritize, even if you don't prioritize anything, is your photographer and your videographer, because those are only the memories that you have beyond what's
Yeah.
in your head. And then you can look back at the pictures and laugh at all the mess that happened on the day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's something else that you need to focus on. And thirdly, if you're Nigerian, I think you need to wake up early. And I mean very early on, maybe after you get engaged, to the fact that it's not your wedding.
Did your
It's your
church tell you that if you come late, they will continue the service without you?
no, normally Catholic church don't wait. So even
Okay,
I
because
knew.
they told us to
No,
that
I didn't even need to be
they'll
told. I knew.
continue the service. So if
Of
you're late,
course.
it's you that you're late. The service
Yeah.
will continue.
We
If
knew.
they reach the joining of the couple and you're not there, they'll move to the next thing.
Normally. I mean, generally, I'm not, when it comes to lateness, I didn't even like to be involved in it. So I was just like, whatever happens, we're gonna be there on time. And
Yeah.
I dressed up from home with my mom and my dad. There was no way I was gonna church late. There
I
was
can
no way
imagine.
in the world I was getting there late.
Mm.
So, and what was I saying before you just, anyways,
Waking up
enjoy.
early, you have to wake up early.
No, see, between yourself and if you know that you are using vendors and you're not using a stylist, tell your vendors to arrive there 3 hours before. Because I've been a bridesmaid for a wedding. Let me tell you what the makeup artist did. Makeup artist slept in the hotel room with the bride. Woke up that morning and said, "Oh, she's quickly coming." Went somewhere else to do makeup for somebody else. I'm not even joking. Came back
Yes.
late. So church that was supposed to start at 12, she arrived at 11. Obviously, they couldn't meet. And this way, I say it was also a Catholic church. We were standing outside. The groom was inside. In fact, it was even at maybe almost responsibility.
Jeez.
No, I think we had even gone to read the gospel. It was now time for sermon before they allowed us in. So know what you are doing.
Jeez.
Know what you are doing with those
Some
vendors.
vendors, eh?
They don't have the
Ah.
fear of God in them. They actually don't. So do know what you are doing, honestly.
Mm.
Yeah, and like I said, it's really not your day entirely, it's also your family members' days, everybody's day.
Yeah.
So
I had to
try
come to
not to
terms with
be
that too.
actually be kind to them, because let's be honest, your parents are probably be looking forward to this, everybody. So just try not to make it's all about it, because it's really not about you. Whatever, if you want to do vow renewal, go and do that. You and your spouse and whatever, nobody really cares. But you see that original one, if you're Nigerian, accept the truth very early on, because that's how you have peace of mind, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I guess that's it.
Yes.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we shall see you on the next episode.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.